Hello friends, Chrissy here at A Little Glam, A Lot of Mom. So every year we celebrate autumn equinox by just having a slow, meaningful day at home. We do some crafts, we decorate for fall, we decorate our nature table, and at night we go on a nature walk. So I thought that I'd share the two crafts that we prepared for our autumn nature table. For our first project, we chose to dye play silks, but we wanted to do this as naturally as possible. So let me show you what we did, but first, can we admire these postcards from at Sarah's Silks? The packaging is everything. For the project, we bought a 6-pack of undyed play silks, again from Sarah's Silks, and the sizes are of the regular play silks 35 by 35. We also chose Color Garden Pure Natural Food Coloring, and I found this at my local organic store, but I have seen it available on Amazon. Some common household items you'll need are white distilled vinegar, rope, and clothespins. Okay, so we added warm water into a bowl and we mixed in our dye. Whatever color payoff you want is how much dye you're going to use, and the dye color of your choosing. 1/4 cup vinegar into the water and stir thoroughly, making sure that the dye is completely dissolved. You want to maintain a ratio of about 1/6 for vinegar to water if you're using a natural dye. So this is a part of the project that the children enjoy, so let them be here and take their time and enjoy this part. Either way, you want the silk to sit in the dye bath for at least 30 minutes. So to make sure that your dye does not bleed off of your play silk, you'll need a warm soapy bath followed by a cold water rinse. Again, allowing the children to experience this part of the project. And lastly, hang to dry. Just an hour or so under the sun will do. So you'll see that the natural food dye just gave the silks a light wash of color, especially after being out in the sun for 30 minutes or so. Well, at this point, we started experimenting with spices, veggies, and fruit and doing our research as to which of these that we had in our home we can use as natural dyes. And we were much happier with those results. First, we used spinach. We boiled it down to make a spinach bath, added about 2 tablespoons of vinegar, and simmered the silk in the spinach bath for about 30 minutes, being very careful not to let it burn and stirring it often. We did the same process with the blackberries, and the turmeric was already a powder, so we went right into the turmeric bath. The turmeric dye bath turned out to be the most vibrant in my opinion and my favorite. For our next project, we wet felted hollowed pumpkins with a lid to hold some of these manipulatives. So you'll need wool roving of your color choice, but you will need a color for the outside shell, the inside, and a color for the stem of the pumpkin. You'll also need some color coordinating or matching wool yarn, and then you'll need some tennis balls. I only had 2 tennis balls and 3 children, so we used a baseball, and it turned out to be a bit more difficult. Some common household items you'll need are warm water, dish soap. We like to use 7th generation natural dish soap, a bucket, needle, and thread. First, you want to gently pull apart and fan out about 3 pieces of wool roving of the inner color, enough to wrap the ball. So again, starting with the inner color and wrapping your ball, and then next you want to do the same with your color for your outer shell. Next, you want to grab your yarn, and you want to make sure that it is wool yarn, just like the wool roving, because it does need to felt along with the roving. Tie it so that you can make like the pumpkin grooves, right, to get that pumpkin effect. And I think that I ended up making 8 parts to our pumpkin. The children have been patiently waiting, and finally this is the part that they can start participating. So you want to have them add warm water to the bucket, a generous amount of soap. You want to see suds, and begin the water felting process by dunking the entire ball and wool in the water. pulling it out, pressing the wool with both of your hands all around the ball. Now this might be a little bit hard for the young kids because they have smaller hands, but it's okay. It's not going to be perfect. Point is to experience this material, this wool in your hands, the warm water and the soap, and just have a time together as a family. So you want to continue this process of dunking and gently pressing all sides of the ball for about 30 minutes. So once the roving has felted down and shrink down significantly, and you'll notice, you can gently have the child bounce the ball to continue the felting process. Rinse out all the soap with a cold water rinse. I've read that you can put the tennis balls in the dryer, but we did just let it air dry for about 3 to 4 days sitting on a windowsill. So once you know it's completely dry, that's when you want to carefully cut off a small piece of the top for the lid. So at this point, you can also needle felt more yarn or roving in the grooves where the yarn may have gotten felted over in the wet felting process or just moved. I chose not to do that. While the project may not have turned out perfect, it did turn out unique. It is my children's art, and I do not want them to see me alter it too much. But what I did do is I blanket stitched the edges of the pumpkin and the pumpkin lid so that the felt doesn't fray. And to do that, I just used a color coordinating or matching cotton embroidery thread and a medium-sized needle. And the final step is to needle felt on a stem. Some of the traditional items we like to display on our nature table are play silks, Around the Year by Elsa Besco, seasonal peg dolls, a candle, items we may collect in nature, and loose parts we use as our math manipulatives for the season. If I could only choose one favorite thing about autumn, it would have to be observing the natural world with its busy changing events as the world prepares for winter. Friends, I am wishing you warmth, coziness, and joy in this new season. I'd also love to hear in the comments down below what your favorite thing or part of autumn is. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and a share. And as always, thank you for your love.